are cool, but they don't know what to do by themselves. At its very core, computers are, well, just stupid. They don't know anything except basic commands to change memory. To make computers amazing, they need instructions, which programming essentially is. Everything a computer does requires programming, from browsing the web to, say, editing a video. Build a really simple program that just adds two numbers in the command language known as bash for Linux. So as you can see, it's right here. It just reads expr $1 plus $2, and we can call it by just typing bash, the language, the file name, the directory, example.sha, and the two numbers we want to add. Let's say 62 and 184, 3. And it's going to output that. And the program is extremely simple. Expr just means to evaluate an expression. Number 1 and number 2, those things, are the numbers we just added in right there. Those are called parameters because we called it as a function. I'm not going to get into really complicated stuff. We're actually just kind of simple stuff just to not lose anybody. So that is basically a really simple program that just adds. It's a bit complicated in longer languages like C++, or even not even that complicated languages like JavaScript. So yeah. So this is my mom. She majored in computer science in the 90s. Computer science is very similar to programming, and I'm going to be interviewing her. So first, what is your experience with programming?
As James mentioned, I have 2 degrees in computer science, a bachelor's and master's. And part of my studies, I studied COBOL, C, Perl, BASIC. And part of my experience is in middle 90s, I was doing COBOL mainframe, Visual Basic, HTML, assembler, and Unix. Also, I was doing business intelligence, working with DB2, Oracle, and SQL Server.
How has programming in computers changed since those times?
So, as most of us take for granted, we have laptops, we have computers at home, and in workplace we have computers from work. In terms of when I was in college, we had to go to the lab because not everybody had a computer, and the computers that we had were very slow, and we were not able to install the software that we needed to do programming. So we had to go to the lab and actually do programming in the lab. Also, part of my homework when I was in college, at that time internet was just starting, so part of my homework, I had to go, for example, to 3 different sites, and I had to print out as a proof that I went to those sites. As well as, for example, when you program and you find a syntax error, as of now, you can just go and Google it and find out what the error is, and it also will tell you how most likely you need to fix an error. Back then, we didn't have those resources, so we actually had to go look into the books and find specific syntax error in a book, and in some cases it would tell us how to fix it, or we had to figure it out how to fix it. And what we take for granted now is all the tools that are available for us to help us with programming.
What is your least favorite programming language?
It's definitely had to be the assembler. I actually had to modify somebody else's program, and debugging it was really, really difficult. And there was not as many tools for debugging, and it's really hard to read compared to other languages, for example, like C or even COBOL.
How did you get into programming?
My mother was a programmer, and I remember as a child I used to draw on punch cards. And I'm so happy that I never had to experience programming using punch cards.
Data types are extremely important in the fundamentals of programming. Basically, how do you store data? This is important and sometimes crucial because some programs need to have a number as output, not say a letter, or else it will break. This is where data types come into the picture. You have different types of data onto the Python shell. So first you have type booleans. So it stores if something's true or false. Is 10/5 true? Yes, it is. But if it's false, it's still Boolean because it's true or false. Next, you have strings, which is just text. So type, how are you doing, is a string shortened to str. And sometimes these will act differently in different languages, such as C. Next, you have integers and you have floats, which are two different things and are different for more complicated reasons that I'm not going to get to. Basically, integers are just full numbers. Floats are not. So you have type 2, that's an integer, but type 1/2, that's a float. There are also enums. You've got structs, you've got characters. Some of them are not in all programming languages, and some are they're just too complicated for this. So we'll just skip over them. And these are all just the basic ones. So, yeah. Question 1. How did you get into programming?
I ask myself that sometimes. I don't really remember, but it must have started with me on this old laptop where I just must have been either Game Maker or Scratch or one of those really basic things, and I just started messing with it, and I really wish I had like the full story up, but I guess I just kept messing with stuff, and I just I was a bored kid with a computer, and this
What is the first thing somebody should do if they want to learn programming or get into computers?
really you just want to actually
Just like get into it?
you just want to try it out, because I mean you can take classes and everything, but I found the best way to learn is just by actually doing it, by just messing around with it, just like Googling what is even possible. And it doesn't even matter how you start. You can start with anything, and you can try other things out there. Some people say that like certain languages and certain programs are different, but they're not really that different. Like they are, but there's a lot more similarities and differences. So you can start anywhere and go anywhere else from it. So it doesn't actually matter how you start, besides the fact that you do.
What are you making right now? What are some of your current projects?
So I got two main projects in the works. One of them is just rebuilding my website, and I'm trying to make it as polished as I can. And the other one is this. I could call it a video editor, but that wouldn't really describe what it is. But it'd be a lot harder to describe exactly what it does. But video editor, it's basically that, which is no easy project. I've had this idea for at least a year, and I just finally told myself, I think you can do it now. So go ahead, try it out, and it's in progress.
What are you best known for in programming?
I guess a lot of people just know me as the person who knows a lot of stuff about programming and always has an answer for their question. But a bunch of other people have learned about me from a web game called Elemental 4, which isn't really my best work, but it's what I guess went not really viral. It has a decent amount of users that, but not like as a. I'm not big as I wouldn't call myself big. I'm just a person.
Last question. Well, I guess who are you?
I mean, I'm Dave. I'm just a person. There's not a whole lot going on here. Yeah, I'm a high school student. You know, I don't take any classes for this stuff. I'm just bored.
So that's about it on what I have to say about coding. Not everybody should be a coder, but if you want to, it will be a very rewarding hobby. And I just want to first give some thanks. First to the people I interviewed, they were very nice. That is my mom and Dave. Go check out his website, he has some cool stuff up there. And I want to also thank viewers like you for watching this long video. I know it's long. And I put a lot of effort into it, and I'm recording the day this is due. So I guess I can say one last so yeah. So yeah.